On today's Domain Sherpa review, we discuss names going to auction soon. Names like Appearance.com, a domain name owned by Andrew Rosener's company, MediaOptions, that Paige Howe thinks is worth 6 figures. We also take a look at some 3-letter domains like TOB.com, EER.com, and HMW.com, which do have liquidity in the market. Some brandables. We also answer 2 audience questions, and we play the Name That Price game with surprising results. Stay tuned. I have 3 sponsor messages before we get into today's show. First, if you have a great domain name and nothing to show when people visit, you're missing out on potential advertising revenue, leads, and partnership opportunities. NicheWebsites.com can build you a site quickly with a price option to suit any need. But as their tagline says, they don't just build websites, they build businesses. NicheWebsites.com. Second, if you're buying or selling a domain name or portfolio and you want an estimate of its value, Estimate.com is the place to go. Just like you'd visit Zillow.com to get an estimate of a house value, Estimate.com provides key information about the most important statistics so you can make an informed decision based on data. Finally, whether you're buying, selling, brokering, or financing a domain name, you need an escrow company that's properly licensed, bonded, insured, and audited. That company is Escrow.com, and they've been doing it since 1999. Escrow.com. It's about trust. Hey everyone, I'm Michael Cyger, publisher of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the Domain Sherpa Review. This is the show where we get into the minds of successful domain name investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics. We have 3 sections on the review: an investor-submitted domain name portfolio to discuss and value, a marketplace list from Namejet.com. We're going to wrap it up with our Name That Price game. If there's time, we'll answer 1 or 2 questions from the audience as well. Joining us today on the Domain Sherpa Review are 3 past Sherpas and thought leaders. In order from left to right, we have Adam Dicker, CEO of DNForum.com and NicheWebsites.com, the company that will help you build, rank, and update your business website. Andrew Rosener, CEO of the domain name brokerage firm MediaOptions.com and partner at the reverse auction domain name marketplace DNX.com. And Paige Howe, founder of the DNOutlet.com and DNStore.tv marketplaces, and the domain tipsheet.com service where you can find great hand-selected domain names for reg fee pricing. Sherpas, welcome to today's show.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
Good to be here, Michael.
You know, all the Sherpas are buying and selling domain names constantly, but it's been an especially busy month from what I hear for one of our Sherpas, Drew. How many, and only reveal information that you're comfortable revealing, Drew, but how many domain names and how much worth of domain names have you purchased, say, in the last 30 days?
Well, we bought a lot of domains in the last, let's say 45 days. Yeah. 30 to 45 days. We made, in August and September, we made a couple of really big sales, and we're doubling down. So we, I don't know exactly the number, but we probably bought 100 names, and probably the bulk of that, 70% of the value is probably in 15 of those names.
Yeah. So 100 names, what'd you spend? Like $10,000, $50,000
per what? What?
So 100 domains. How much did you buy?
About $900,000.
Wow. All right. So you're doubling down. You're throwing down money. You're putting your own company's money where your mouth is.
Yeah, not my money. It's MediaOptions money. But right. Yeah, we're reinvesting. We're reinvesting capital back into the domain market. I'm very bullish on the market. I think I'm seeing sales that are happening that wouldn't have happened before, meaning at higher dollar levels than I've ever seen. I'm seeing more consistent offers. I'm seeing a very clear trend in terms of the type of names which are heating up, similar to what I saw in 2006, 2007, 2008 with exact match keyword domains. There's a shift happening now, and prices are they're getting crazy. I mean, basically I look at it like this. I think every single day there's less and less inventory available I think we do a lot of domain acquisitions on the behalf of startups and investors. And when they come to us, it's like, I would say 7 or 8 out of 10 have the exact same criteria. 4 or 5 letter word, generic meaning, can be used for whatever. And, it shouldn't be too specific because if we want to pivot, we don't want to have to go out and get a different name.
Right.
So, that type of inventory that fits that criteria is getting less and less. That means prices go up. So I think it's a good time to be buying.
All right. Well, good luck on those domain names you bought. I look forward to hearing more on DomainSherpa when you sell those. Before we start the main part of the show, I wanted to announce that this show, the DomainSherpa Review, will be conducted live and in person at the NamesCon conference, taking place January 11th through the 14th in Las Vegas. This panel right here will be reviewing a domain portfolio from the live audience. So if you want to get your domains reviewed there, you need to go to NamesCon. They'll also answer questions live, and there may even be some offers presented by the panel to domain owners on the spot. If you're thinking of going, do it. Learn more at namescon.com. We're going to jump right into the first section of the show.
Hold on a second. Hold on. How come you didn't tell me what was going on? How come we didn't? Did any of you guys know this was going on? Because I didn't.
No.
I'm going to have to read those mails.
Didn't we talk about this on the last show? You're like, hey, we should do this live.
Well, we're good with it, but
I didn't you bring it up? You did. I'm not making this stuff up.
I don't think any of us knew that we took it to fruition, but that's great. It'll be fun.
Paige, did you not say, hey, we should do the show live?
I believe I did, but whether it was in the after show and whether anyone was left.
Right, it was in the after show. You come up with a good idea, I act on it.
You say you're going to do it, and then you're going to do it, just like all the other companies do when they come to a trade show and they announce, here's what our new product's going to be. Well, do you have it ready now? No. Okay, so anyway.
I know, and it's probably going to be me making the offers for the domain names. All right, I'm just joking. You guys will. In the Domain Portfolio Review, we take user-submitted domain name portfolios and provide honest and constructive feedback to the owners. If you're watching the show on YouTube, click the link in the description to see the list of domain names discussed on today's show on the DomainSherpa.com website. Today's portfolio was submitted by Mike Noel. As part of Mike's submission, he made a generous donation to the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center to help us all find a cure for cancer. Mike's list of 25 domain names starts with Aviaciones, which I believe is Spanish for aviations, and I'm not sure why in Spanish it would be plural. Anyways, the list ends with whitetooth.org. Paige, let's start with you. What do you like on Mike's list, and what retail price would you set on it if you owned it?
First off, I'm going to throw a penalty flag on Mike, because Mike is a previous person. Mike Noel has sent in his portfolio September 25th of the year 2013, and we have already reviewed some of these names. But you would think, to be honest, that Mike would have improved the quality of his portfolio over the time since we gave him his original appraisal. But I didn't find a lot of great names. Let's see. I got a lot of UGs and I got a lot of OKs, and I feel like what Mike's done is he's taken really great words and he's substituted synonyms for them that are almost as good, but in the domain name world are a long way away. For
Give me an example, Paige.
What's that?
Give me an example of a synonym that he substituted in that's not as good as what should have been the domain.
Like farm materials. Now, you can say farm materials. Oh my God, that's farm. This could be a huge mega site. Now, that would be farmequipment.com. That's what people call it. I'm going to go to my John Deere dealer and get me some farm equipment. Right. And I just think farm materials is a long way from that. Does it have some good stats? Yes. If you build a site on it, can you make money? Yes, please go do it. But does it have the unique qualities and properties to make someone desire it and pay you more than registration fee? I don't know. You'll probably keep it for 4 or 5 years. We don't always know what sells, so I wouldn't drop it, but that's an example of one where I'm not sure it's going to be a big money winner. Financial Fair, the same way. I think of going to a financial expo. I think of going to a financial something else. And yes, I've been to fairs, but I just don't put those two together to make it be the word of the supreme quality you need.
Yeah.
What does he have in there that does have some value? Obviously, the 3-character L40. It's kind of nice because it's got the 40. You know, it isn't like, you know, Z39. So whatever 3 characters go for, it'd be really easy for people to remember to go to L40.com. Come to L40.com. So I think that's the name that probably has the most value on the list. Bad debt insurance. Again, it's bad credit insurance. So if I'm worried about JCPenney's going under, then, you know, I got to buy debt, you know, insurance that they're going to pay my receivables and things like that. But you're really going to find it as credit insurance. Now, if you type in bad debt insurance, you're going to see all those advertisers there. So, I mean, it's got some quality to it. But, boy,
yeah, every business has bad accounts receivable that you have to write off. But, shit, if there was insurance you could buy for that, everybody would sign up. Nobody's
well, no, you can't. What you do is basically you get like 90 cents on the dollar now for sure, and then you trade the risk of collecting the 100 cents from JCPenney. So It's a big business, and you know, but could you get into it yourself with bad debt insurance? Maybe. So that was the second best one that I had on the list, just because it's a big enough business, and the amount of dollars that are going through that business are pretty good, and the bad debt isn't. It is credit insurance, but you are insuring yourself against the bad debt. So I kind of like that one. These layette names, I actually had to look up and see what a layette is, and it's a little drawer full of clothes that you buy for a baby. So it's like, you know, if you want to be able to change your baby and have everything organized and laid out where you have 3 of these diapers and 4 of these little things. So it's a very small market. He's got iLayettes and he's got custom layettes. So I guess in that market, if you could find somebody, you'd do pretty good.
Hey, Paige, let me ask you, what's the retail price? What would you set the retail price for baddebtinsurance.com and L40.com if you owned them?
Well, I put L40 as make offer just because it is rare, it is unique. There aren't that many 3 characters, and you have to tell yourself, I'm going to go through, even if it takes 10 or 20 offers, I'm going to wait till someone has just decided in their head that they want to be L40.com and try to get 10 or 15 or 20,000 for it. I think you're better off doing that than just pricing it at, you know, 4,500 or something, and then you're going to find out someone bought it one day. I would take a chance on it. Because of the scarcity of 3 characters.
All right. What about baddebtinsurance.com?
I would go above 5,000 for my asking price, but I would list it at a price and hope someone comes and buys it. So I'd go above 5,000, like 6,500. Most of the rest of them I'd put on between 1,000 and 3,000, and trying to see if anything else really jumped out at me.
Between 1,000 and 3,000, you know, if nothing's really jumping at you, why wouldn't you just price them at, say, $400 on, you know, Afternic Premium? So you pay 30% or $120, and then, you know, you walk away with $300 because he likely hand registered these. I'm gonna guess. I don't know, maybe not.
So we don't know why stuff sells, and as long as you're hoping that someone buys a name that doesn't have a lot of wholesale value, you might as well hope that they pay a bunch for it. And then if they offer you $400, you can decide that week whether to take it or not.
Okay. Good advice. Hey, Drew, let's go over to you. What do you like on Mike Knoll's list and why?
Yeah, I got to be honest. There's not a single domain on this entire list that I like. I got to be honest. I guess if I stretch, there's 2 names on here. You know, L40, as Paige said, that name has some liquid value. I mean, a 3-character.com it's always going to sell. I don't know exactly what the going rate is, but it's probably somewhere around $500 to $1,000. It's not a name that you can say has a retail price because, you know, it's a lot of speculation to sit on any type of, you know, it can be K40, K39, K21. And the biggest buyer of these 3 characters is the Chinese market, and they hate the number 4, so this probably puts it in the lower tier of these 3 characters. But, you know, I don't know. It's probably worth $500 to $1,000 if I had to guess. You know, the other name is dailymillions.com. You know, I mean, that certainly could be a good brand for some kind of lottery, you know, whatever it is. If I had to guess, there probably is a Daily Millions out there. So I imagine that name probably has some value, and if somebody came knocking, considering the market that it's in, I'd probably be looking at a minimum of $5,000, and I don't know if you really want to stretch it. If you're in a position to hold out, then maybe 15 to 25. If I'm Mike, I take any offer I get on any of these names, really, and then.
All right, we're back. Sorry for cutting it off. I ran out of disk space. My apologies. Drew, so the two names that you definitely liked, L40.com. You mentioned a $500 to $1,000 price tag on that. Did you like any other domains on the list?
Mike, you're a little.
No, like I said, I think DailyMillions.com might have some value to a lottery company or scratch tickets or something like that. And I'd probably let it go for anything over $5,000.
Okay. Adam, can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, but you're fuzzy. Did anybody else hear it? Hey?
Yeah, I hear a little bit of crackle.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll talk and you can work on your crackle.
I'll crackle this. All right, let me switch back to built-in and then Yeti. All right. Adam, let's go over to you. Do you like any of the names on the list?
Well, I mean, it's a very rough list, and especially if it is his second time through. Ceremony dresses may have some value. Custom aircrafts would be good, but it's such a small audience. Disproportion, I don't really think you want to tell anybody they're disproportionate. Spreadsheets.info to me is one of the better ones because you can do a lot of info and affiliate programs with spreadsheets. I'm always looking up things like how to do formulas in Excel for certain things. So I would build that out as an informational site. And then I do like the data store. I like that. I think it's a good name. Whitetooth.org, I don't like just one white tooth. I'd rather have them all white. So I'm going to say it should be white teeth, but still it stinks anyway. So I'm going to go with the data store and spreadsheets.info. And the rest, he needs to redo his portfolio and apply for a third time in about 2 years from now.
What kind of retail price would you set on the datastore.com and spreadsheets.info?
I mean, if you're building a business, it could be good.
Just the domain name, no business. Most people aren't into building businesses like you, Adam. Now, they can come to you and do that, but if they just had these domain names they're offering for sale, what retail price would you put them at?
Spreadsheets maybe a K at 1,000, and the data store probably 3K.
Okay. Fair enough. Lots in there to consider dropping if they don't get any offers by the next renewal points. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, but you're still crackling. It's going to come out horrible on the tape.
All right, I'll see what I can do about the crackle.
It's really bad.
There's something in post-production that I could probably do. All right, Mike Knoll, thank you for submitting your portfolio and making a donation to cancer research. We hope this review has been helpful to you in your domain name investing activities, and we'll get you back here in a couple of years and review your portfolio at that point. We're going to move on to the marketplace list. This section is sponsored by NameJet. We'll be reviewing 15 domain names heading to auction soon. First, I should ask, are any of the domains on the list below owned by any of you Sherpas?
No.
Okay. Drew?
Guilty.
Yeah?
Guilty.
Okay. All right. Then in that case, Drew, I'm going to have you go last on the list, and then you can tell us which ones are yours. That way, the other two Sherpas can talk about them with impunity. If you like one of the names below, click through soon, because once they go to auction, you lose your chance to put in a minimum bid and also be a part of the auction or even just watch the results. The links below go directly to NameJet. They're not commissionable links. They're just trackable by NameJet so you can see what kind of traffic we're sending. The list contains 5 3-letter.coms, 1 4-number.com, some single word.coms. The list starts with 5472.com and ends with XZV, or I should say XZV for our friends up in Canada.com. Adam, let's start with you this round. What do you like on the NameJet list and why?
Okay, so generally this is a pretty good list. I could care less about 5472. Appearance I like. I don't put it at 101,000 like Esteban. I think it's good because for me, I would want appearances would be better. I like to do player appearances and have different showings when people show up and do stuff like that. Black pepper is good. I've sold some spices and some things like lentils before, so I like those kind of names. All the 3-letter ones are good. The worst one on the list is, the bottom 2 are the worst, XGV and XZV, or ZV for you guys. The HMW is good, EER is good. I like them. I think I'm going to bid on some of the 3-letter ones. I like homebuilder.org because I think it's a great one for an organization. It matches well. I think it's probably one of the better ones on the list, even though it's only appraised at $3,100. because you can actually start an organization and email every home builder and have them pay a fee to join your organization, and then say they're certified if there's a way to do it. Local advertisement is pretty good too. Recruiter spelt wrong, so no interest in that. That's pretty much about it for me, but I really like HMW and Home Builder. I think those are nice names.
Hey, Adam, let me ask you, what do you think the retail value, if you owned Appearance.com or BlackPepper.com, what do you think the retail value is? What would you ask for those?
Well, the retail value of Black Pepper would probably be about $10K. And the retail value of Appearance, even though, again, Esteban puts it really high, you're probably looking at about 30, in my opinion.
Okay, and what about the 2 3-letters? I know that they've got a wide range. It could go anywhere from, 20, 30,000 floor up to, hundreds, over 100,000.
I think most of them are going to sell at around 12.
You think they're going to sell around 12? That was my question.
And that's a pretty good buy, not a good sell.
Yeah. I think they might actually go up to like maybe 17, 18. Are they still a good buy at that point?
Yes, because they're going to go up as long as you can afford to hold them. Now, I also like Hydrated because everyone's talking about hydration and Hydrated. I think Hydrated is a great name for a water company or a water bottle or something. I think everyone wants to be hydrated, so I like that as a brandable.
Yeah.
That, I'm done.
What do you think retail price on Hydrated is?
3 to 5.
Okay. Paige, let's go over to you. What do you think of this NameJet list, and what do you like?
Well, I'm going to carve out the 3-letter ones because they're kind of their own little market with, it's a liquid market. You have high bids, a smaller distance between the bid and the ask. The 2 on the bottom, I was trying to come up with something for them, but I think they are, as Drew always talks about, just the non-premium letters. But they're still 3 letters, so, they're still strong. The TOB seems like it has more things that could be called TOB as the initials, as well as pronounceable as TOB. And even though it doesn't mean anything, maybe that's good because you create a social network or whatever you create, you don't have to worry about someone going, oh, does that mean TOB, which is, some plant in my garden? Or, it really doesn't have a meaning. So actually, the fact that it doesn't and it's pronounceable, it was probably my favorite of the 3-letter ones. EER was interesting because it's double premium, double vowel. But it's almost like, but then it makes it hard to pronounce. But again, I'm talking about whether it goes from the 14 to the 19 to the 27 to the 36, what level of premium it gets. So that's why. And then HMW seems like it could have more initials, someone's initials or some company's initials. It just seems like the W at the end does bring in a lot of last names and things like that. So that's my thing on the 5 letters. Just like Adam said, Hydrated, I think, is a good attribute name. It's the attribute of a product. It isn't the product, but it's come by my whatever at hydrated.com. You want to be hydrated. So I'd probably put it above $5K as a retail, but I'd want to buy it, for like $500 or $1,000.
Yeah, what would you put the retail at?
Because it's a dictionary name, I don't think you'll be able to. I think it'll be $2,000 or $3,000.
What do you think the retail will be on that one? What would you price the retail at if you owned Hydrated?
I would make it make offer because you're hoping to get a fitness company or someone with a lot of money, and I would shoot for 5 figures just because, again, it's worth it to wait and shoot for higher. Now, if you're like, oh my gosh, I've invested $20,000 in domain names, I need to get $10,000 back, then you're not going to make someone pay $30,000 for it. But I think it would hold out. Home Builder was interesting because I see the companies being home builders. So this one I marked it off a little bit for not being the plural. And then you'd want to be a community of like the solo home builder where I'm building my own home at homebuilder.org, or maybe a template, floor plan site, which there's a lot of floor plan sites out there. So that's maybe the direction I'd go. Wholesale. Try to buy it under $1,000. Try to sell it between 5 or 10. I really want to talk about Appearance.com. I think it's a 6-figure and above. Hold it for 5 years. Make $1 million type name.
Wow.
I have teenage daughters, and the amount of attention and focus they put on their appearance is incredible. It is incredible, and I think that this type of name, has some traction. And I don't know if it's a third-party seller. I doubt it's a drop. But if you're looking for a chunky name to, tie up some capital in, I think it's got some attributes that could give you that big return on big money. So it was my favorite by far on the list.
It's probably Drew's name.
I know, that's why he was smiling.
And probably just one thing, Paige, I never thought I'd educate you on Christianity, but TOB stands for Theology of the Body. And that's the top use for TOB on the internet.
Huh.
I saw that as the five-star abbreviation.com thing, but I've never heard of it. So I look for other ones.
All right, Drew.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Drew Rosener, you have that, cat smile like, hey, I just caught a bird and it's stuck in my mouth. Do you own appearance.com?
MediaOptions owns appearance.com. We own TOB.com. I think that's it from this list.
All right. So what if you agree with Paige? Do you agree with Paige that it's a six-figure name for the right buyer?
Yeah, I think it's not going to sell for six figures on NameJet, but I think on the retail side, it's for sure it's a six-figure name. I mean, it's like Paige said. I mean, appearance.com. Appearance is everything. This can be reputation management. This can be fashion. This can be a lot of different things. I think appearance.com is a great name. I don't want to harp too much on.
So why are you selling it on NameJet if it is such a great name?
Because this is what we do. We turn inventory. We buy, we sell, we broker other people's names. This is what we do.
Hey, give him a break. You just spent $900K on domains.
I know. He's got to free up some cash before the boss gets mad at him. So, so what's the reserve price on appearance.com on NameJet?
Unfortunately, due to our agreement with NameJet, I cannot disclose that. But I can tell you that I'm pretty confident it's going to hit the reserve. It's a very, very low reserve for the value of that name.
Drew, let's talk about three-letter.coms. You own TOB. There's also EER and HMW that I believe Adam and Paige liked. Which three-letter do you like best?
Okay, so I think, frankly, I think TOB is probably the highest value of all of them on here, but I think EER is also a phenomenal name. I mean, to get a double, it's a triple premium in terms of letters, and to have a double letter on the front is very rare. In terms of wholesale market, this has got a lot of attributes that make it extremely desirable, that are going to allow an investor to pay a premium to, like Paige says, bring that bid and ask price even closer together than normal. So I think EER.com and TOB will go the highest on NameJet. I think both will probably go over 30,000 on NameJet. I think the last two are probably like $6,000 to $8,000 names. But right now, honestly, very few three letters, regardless of how crappy they are selling below 10. So those might go to 10. And I know that the Chinese market loves these random weird letters. They love Z's and Q's and X's. And so I could see a name like XZV potentially going for 10 or 12, if the Chinese like it. And unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to say whether or not they will. But I can see both of those end up probably surprising us because the Chinese market is so hot, and those are the type of letters that they do like. Outside of the three letters, to be honest, as a buyer, my favorite name on this list is blackpepper.com. I love names like that. These two-word, it's not a six-figure name, but it's one of these things. It's so rare. It's so hard to find these two-word brands that are sort of, they have so much mindshare. Everybody, even people who don't speak English, they know what black pepper is. And it's such a neutral thing. It's like, people don't really love or hate black pepper. It's just a commodity that every person on the face of the planet has in their kitchen. And it's, it can be anything. Blackpepper.com, I don't know, I can imagine it lending itself to a billion different purposes. I think it's one of those names, it's not, the startup that gets $100 million in funding isn't going to buy blackpepper.com. They're going to buy black.com or pepper.com. But the company that goes out and they get $500,000 and they want to go buy a $25,000 to $50,000 domain, blackpepper.com is that kind of name.
What do you think it'll sell on NameJet, and what do you think the retail price? I guess you said the retail price should be $25,000, $30,000.
Yeah, I think more. I think 25 is, you'd be crazy to sell that for less than $25,000. And I think 50 is entirely feasible if you've got the balls to hold out.
What do you think it'll sell for on NameJet?
I think on NameJet it's going to do between 7 and 10. I think it'll be hard for that name to get up over 10, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it get close.
Hey, let me ask all of you, Recruiter.com, the typo that's in the list, RECRUTER.com, how can a domain name investor determine if this is a good typo domain, which might actually monetize well with a park page displaying advertising for recruiting? Quick break from 3 sponsors of today's show. First, are you tired of being upsold and cross-sold when you buy or renew a domain? Then try the newest registrar being built from the ground up with a beautiful interface, competitive pricing, and 24/7 support. Uniregistry.com will surprise and delight you. The right domain can change your life. Uniregistry.com. Second, investing in Chinese domains is crazy hard without expert native language advice. Now, as a service to the Western domainer community, TLD Registry offers ChineseLandRush.com. Using ChineseLandRush.com will help you invest in Chinese domains with confidence and without knowing a word of Chinese. Finally, MediaOptions is a boutique domain brokerage firm that gets results. They've specialized in helping companies acquire and sell high-value domain names since 2005, with a client list ranging from funded startups to Fortune 500 corporations. Visit MediaOptions.com to learn more. Hey, let me ask all of you, Recruiter.com, the typo that's in the list, RECRUTER.com, is missing the I. But it may get type-in traffic. I don't know. I know there are advertisers paying on Google AdWords for the keyword spelled correctly of recruiter. How can a domain name investor determine if this is a good typo domain, which might actually monetize well with a park page displaying advertising for recruiting? Is that possible at all?
Well, all you can do is... Go ahead.
If the correct spelling, recruiter.com, is an established website that's got significant traffic, which you can get an idea of either using compete.com or Alexa, then most likely, it's going to have some traffic. So there's going to be plenty of people forgetting the I. It'll have traffic. If it's job recruitment, it's going to be pretty good value traffic. You'll get a good CPC. I think it all hinges on whether the correct spelling has, because it's not a super easy name to spell. I can't imagine that if recruiter.com was a park page and was never previously a site, I can't imagine that it's getting a tremendous amount of type-in traffic.
Right.
So I don't think the typo of that word would be getting much unless it is a fully established site.
Good advice.
With good traffic.
Adam, what were you going to say about it?
I don't really remember. He threw me off. Basically, that all you have to do is park it and just test.
Well, I know, but you don't know whether to buy it for $500 or if it's a complete waste of money.
Buy that if you're trying to make your primary business on keyword typos, then you're in the wrong way of domaining, my friend.
It's given that this is a waste of money if you're going to build a business. But for the domain investor that wants to own a typo, a generic typo, and thinks that they can monetize it, if they buy it for $500 and they're able to make $50 a year off of typo traffic that people click on recruiting advertisements, maybe it's a good buy.
Yeah, they should say goodbye to this industry because I don't really think it's a good way to start buying names. There's so much else out there that you can get for the same price or better that you'd be better off with a long tail keyword with recruiter spelled right in this, and you'd make a lot more money. And then just go out and backlink it and do some posts on social network. That's a better way to go.
Paige, what are your thoughts?
Then recut it.
So the only person who knows is the seller, and the seller's selling. So,
Bing,
you know,
bing, 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 bing.
so if this name was owned by a domain company, you know, and it has traffic and it's earning, they're not going to sell it. And if someone says, well, I need money, I got to sell it, and it really is doing. I mean, there are typos of generics that can earn $100 a month, $200 a month. There are assets. I have an asset that's earning $2,400 a year. Well, I'm going to go to the most educated buyer I can find and show them exactly what it's earning and try to get the biggest price I can buy. I'm not going to sell it on NameJet where everyone's basically there's a big mystery as to whether it's going to work. So I think, like Adam said, you're going to learn by losing, probably buying these names, hoping they pay off as big traffic, because the only person that knows is the seller, and they're selling.
Yeah, and I just did a Whois lookup. It appears that it had expired October 24th at the Registrar Fabulous. It does have DNS parked at above.com, so it looks like whoever owned it prior that let it expire was trying to monetize it. Is it fair to say that, you know, you can make an assumption that if it was making money and the person was actually parking it at above.com, it probably wasn't making that much money, so they let it drop?
I'm going to go out on a limb and contradict with what you guys are saying. I know of a couple of guys that sell names on NameJet that make money, including us on occasion. And, you know, sometimes you just roll the dice for whatever reason. And I can say that I picked up 2 names recently, which I sold in a traffic portfolio a year or 2 ago, that I know have type-in traffic, that I know make money, and I bought one of them for $69 because nobody else bid on it, and I got that name back, and I know for a fact that it makes $45 to $60 a month. You know, in 2 months that name's paid for. So I wouldn't necessarily just write it off that this guy's selling the name, so it must not make any money. I know. Find Your Name, for instance, they're probably the #1 third-party seller on NameJet, and they sell a lot of names that make money. Generally, I think they set the reserve price at a reasonable multiple of that, so that, you know, nobody's really stealing the name. But even at the reserve price, you know, you're getting a reasonable multiple on the earnings of that name. So, you know, people have reasons for raising cash for various reasons. Some people just like to keep turning inventory so that they, you know, are aware of exactly where the market stands at any given point.
All right, Drew is leaping off of branch. I don't get it. He's on a limb. All right, there you go. There's the NameJet portfolio. Make your own determination. If you end up buying that, come back and tell us how much traffic and if you make any money. Adam's got to run, so we're gonna jump to the lightning round. Today we're playing Name That Price. Drew Rosener is the reigning Sherpa on top of the mountain. He beat out Adam Dicker last week, preventing Adam from going 3 in a row. He did not get his hat trick. Let's see if another Sherpa can take the summit. Here's how the game works. I name 3 domain names that sold within the past 12 months to end users. You all write down the price that it sold at. No looking up search volume, past sales, or anything else. Closest answer wins. First up, deal sites. Remember deal sites? They were all the rage a few years ago. This domain sold 1 year ago. The domain is fairdeal.com. F-A-I-R, as in that was a fair deal. Fairdeal.com. What did it sell for? Write down your answers.
It sold a year ago?
Fairdeal.com. What was your question, Paige?
It sold a year ago?
Sold to an end user. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Dun, 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 dun. Paige is writing. All right, Adam has $4,500. Adam, is that correct? Drew has $4,008, and
He's still playing that game, is he?
Paige has $45,000. He went up a magnitude. You're not messing around today, Paige.
Well, we wanted a fair deal, and he's clearly not looking for a fair deal.
Yeah. All right. The domain sold for $5,000 on Cedo about a year ago. Adam got the W on that one. It was bought by fairdeals.com, the plural. All right. So defensive registration, it looks like. Next up, people love their pets, right? Heck, Mike Berkens just told us today, or just told us on the last Domain Sherpa discussion, that he jumped into the ocean to save his little Juliet when she fell in recently. So the domain I want you to praise is medipet.com. M-E-D-I pet, P-E-T.com. medipet.com. Medipet. What do you think it sold for? Dun, 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 dun. Medipet.com. People are writing down their ad. Page is done, and Drew is done. Adam's writing. All right, here we go. Adam has 2,500. Is that 2,500, Adam? Yeah? Okay.
Yes,
and then
yes.
Drew has 9,008, and Paige is going with 12,500. All right, so Drew and Paige were pretty well clumped in there. Adam, you're like 2,500.
Well, it's not a great name to me. It stands for medical pet, but it's not MediPet insurance or anything. I just thought it was a $2,000
But bam,
name.
$2,400 it sold for. Adam gets the W,
That's
and
right.
he
You
takes
take
the
that
game in the
today.
second. We don't even need to go review another name.
That's
for last place.
Jeez, and you know, I picked low domains because I wanted to screw you guys up, and like, you know, Adam like nails them.
Yeah, but you pick crap names that sold for crap prices.
You know what I ran across? I ran across Vita.com, which our own Drew Rosener bought a year ago on Namejet. Remember how much you paid for it, Drew?
$53,300.
Vita, of course, is the Spanish word for
What is
life.
it, Vita?
I also noticed that it's an operating business offering health coaching. Health coaching. And they've got an app. It looks like a pretty sweet site. You flipped that one within a year, huh, Drew?
We
How much did you
did.
sell that one for?
I unfortunately signed a very formal NDA on that deal.
Damn it, Drew.
Tell us something today, Drew.
We did very well. We did very
All
well.
right, you made more than. All right, good. We got a couple minutes. I'm gonna ask two questions from the audience. Steve Baumer, whose name is Steve Baumer, not that one. In parentheses, he wrote, "Props to the Sherpas. You guys have taught me so much." Question to all of you, but starting with Andrew Rosener: do regional marijuana domain names hold more weight than a goofy, quote-unquote name, goofy name? For example, Oregon Coast Cannabis, or Golden Coast Cannabis, or North Shore Sativa. He owns a large portfolio of 95% marijuana domains, and you would love to have that question answered. What do you think, Drew?
I think you should diversify. No, I mean, look, I don't know. Certainly these geo names, you've got a lot of, it depends what kind of businesses you're targeting and what kind of values you're targeting. If you're going for these regional names like San Francisco Cannabis Club, okay, it's going to be one dispensary, that might pay you $500 to $5,000 at the absolute max. Whereas if you go for like a big, a brandable, like I don't know, sourdiesel.com or
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a good example.
Canacush.com. Then, you're opening yourself up to something that might be for eventually national brand, or at least multi-city, or maybe something that's not even specifically, something media related, something that's not so specific and so geo.
So when Steve was asking, goofy names, he might have been referring to brandable names. So you're saying that the brandable names can go across the U.S., whether it's a San Francisco dispensary or retail shop or a Florida one. So you're saying that those have a
Yeah. I just come back to what I said in the last show. The more options your name lends it to, the more value you've got.
Great. Any other thoughts from Adam or Paige on brandable versus geographically based domain names for marijuana? Yeah, Adam, we'll start with you.
I think they're both good. I mean, if I'm looking for cannabis in Denver, Denver cannabis is what I'm going to come up with. But it could be anything. Golden Coast cannabis or Golden Coast marijuana is good too. I mean, as we're doing this, I'm looking up cannabisking.com because we keep giving Drew the questions on cannabis. And
somehow I'm not sure how I became the expert on that subject.
No, I don't. I mean, I've never seen him smoke anything, so I don't know why he's the expert. But he invests in the names. That's about it. So no, listen. You can make a brand out of anything. So I'm not going to say one's better than the other.
Paige, any thoughts on this question?
Yeah, we've done well with a lot of regions, but you got to know them. I mean, Napa Valley, Long Island, South Florida, Orange County, there's some good ones, but, you got to know it. And if you know that Oregon Coast is what 1.5 million people call it, that's great. But if it's what 75,000 people call it, and you have to live there to know, because then it's hard. Unless it actually becomes a growing region. And all of a sudden, that's where they grow the best marijuana. Like you would grow wines or something. So I think it actually would have more punch if that became a place where it was known to grow, as opposed to just a place where you're servicing that market. And rather than naming it, because there are a lot of cities that don't have a lot of people like, oh, you live in so-and-so? Oh, is that this? And they call it something else. But you got to know. You can't just look at Wikipedia and hope that, oh, yeah, I read this thing on Wikipedia that said they call it this. And then you talk to someone who lives there, and they're like, never heard of it.
Is marijuana legal in Vegas?
Medically, it is for medical use.
Maybe we should do a panel where we're all high, because I've never smoked in my life, so it'd be kind of funny.
I have never inhaled. All right, Adam, do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, and then I got to go do some prom pictures.
One more. Oh, and before we get to the question, Drew, do you want to receive any more emails with marijuana domains, or should we just? What do you want to say to people who own marijuana domains that want to send them to you? Say something, quick. Okay, don't send them unless they're good. All right, Jay wrote a question. I have seen domain names with www, then the generic keyword. And then .com. So basically they're typos where, if you would type in www.drew.com, you buy www.drew.com, hoping that people are going to...
No.
Now, Jay noted that Rick Schwartz owns www.games.com and has it for sale for joint venture lease. How much, and then he asked, how much a month does he charge? Rick Schwartz wrote a comment saying the domain has limited commercial value, clearly. However, it has type-in traffic and earns revenue, but no way could you build a business on a domain like this. Pure quicksand. That's exactly what you said when I asked you about the typo recruiter, Adam. You can never build a business on it, but it might actually get typo traffic. Do any of you think that buying www.keyword.com domain names are worthwhile?
Listen, it really depends on how you want to represent yourself in the business and what you want to do. For me, I have no interest in any names like that. There's so many good names that are out there that you can build a business on that I wouldn't register those. But listen, that's not to say somebody's wrong for doing it. I'm just thinking about a long-term future rather than a short-term gain.
Yeah, I mean, www is kind of being dropped anyways. I think very few people are using it, and I think it's ever increasingly less people using www before the domain name.
Good point.
And so, and I think with the new GTLDs, that's even going to be further.
All right, so you don't recommend it. Paige, final thoughts on www keyword?
Go buy them. The only way to learn is by doing it. Spend your money, buy them, and if it works, then you're going to know it works and you can buy more. And if it doesn't, then you'll know. And you probably won't listen to us. You want to do it. If you want to do it, I can't talk you out of it. So you might as well just go buy it.
I can tell you that I made one of those mistakes a few years ago. I bought a www keyword. I know I didn't sell it. I don't own it in my portfolio today, so I don't think it made me any money. 30 seconds apiece to promote anything you want. Let's start with you, Adam, before you take off. Nothing at
to promote.
All to promote. Drew, anything you want to promote? I caught you off guard.
No.
Paige, anything you want to promote?
I'll go with dnstore.tv. TV, the best new TLD out there.
If you see benefit from today's show, post a comment below. The Sherpas like to come here and see comments. Thanks to Mike Noel for submitting his portfolio for review and making a generous donation to help find a cure for cancer. Thanks to NameJet for submitting their portfolio and sponsoring that portion of the DomainSherpa review. Thanks again to our Sherpas. If you want to see the Sherpas live, you know where to go. NamesCon in January. We'll see you all next time.